I have to say, I feel like a rock star. This is amazing.
Wow, so many wonderful humans out there.
Not so skeptical now, are we, about psychology?
Love life and enjoy every moment.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I get the best gig in the afternoon to talk about something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and that is, can we actually think ourselves into a better reality? Is it that simple, really? And this is something I want you to really consider over this next little while that I'll be talking with you. There's two main things that I'm going to talk about today, and one is our focus, and the second thing is our energy, because what I found in my studies in neuroscience is they are the two hugest contributing factors to our sense of and experience of life. And you've probably heard the saying before, where focus goes, energy flows, right? And I love this visual because what it shows you is what you focus on gets magnified. What are you focusing on? Because the actual fact is, a lot of the time, we're not aware of what we're focusing our attention on. And this is what I really want to get you conscious about today. The other thing I want to also highlight is the thing that I learned in studying about neuroscience was the brain operates a lot like a search engine. So whether you use Google or Safari or Chrome, when you type in a search, what do you get back? What you're looking for, yeah? Your brain is exactly the same. So if you want to focus on why life isn't so great right now, guess what? You're going to find it. Equally, if you start focusing on what you have to appreciate and be grateful for in your life right now, guess what? You're going to amplify more of that. And that is actually going to affect your energy. And as we heard before in previous talks, is that our energy also affects the quality of our thinking and the direction of our thinking as well. When life serves us those unpredictable experiences, and I'm sure a lot of you in the audience have also had them as well as I have, we get to decide how those experiences shape us and our experience of reality. And what I found is you have always got a choice. You have always got a choice of how you respond to what's going on outside of you. Whilst you can't control what's happening to you, you get to determine the narrative and the story you make up about it. And depending on how you perceive it and the story you start telling yourself about it, it affects your experience of reality. So whether you become bitter or better from those adversities is completely up to you. I'm going to share a couple of techniques with you today. The first one is to get some energy moving. And what I want you to notice is, how does it affect your mood? So the first exercise I'd like to ask you to participate in is, I want you to reach your arms up as high as you can. And what I want you to imagine is at the other end of that is your greatest wish, that wish that you want to make true in your life right now. So really reach for it. And on the count of 3, I want you to bring your arms down and I want you to declare, yes, I deserve that wish. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Yes. Again, arms up. 1, 2, 3, go. One more time, right up there. 1, 2, 3, go. Notice what that feels like. Did you notice that that energy starts to change some of that chemistry in your brain? The gut, the brain, our thinking is all connected. We've got to get our bodies moving. What we're doing a lot of the time these days is sitting in this crunched up position. We need to extend and we need to say yes to life. The second thing I want to share with you, and this is a wonderful exercise, and it's the cover of my book as well, is I want you to take your chin up to the ceiling. And then I want you to put the biggest smiley face that you can handle on your face. Huge, big. Show your teeth. I know you have them. There they are. Okay. Now, without changing anything, keep looking up, keep smiling, be depressed. Keep looking up, keep smiling, be depressed. Can you do it? No, you can't. Okay, come back down. Now, that was a study that was actually done at Harvard, where they actually proved you can't look up and smile and be depressed at the same time. So is that going to solve your problems? No, it's not. But it will shift your mood, because just that exercise, did you notice when I asked you to look up and smile, what happened to your eyebrows? What happened to your forehead? There was a tiny burst of dopamine released by your brain into your prefrontal cortex. What that enables now is expanded capacity for innovative or creative thinking, to open your mind to maybe a new possibility or thought, to look at things slightly differently from an emotionally attached space. It allows you to make clear decisions, to problem solve a little easier, to remember things that you know that's hard to recall when you're in that stressed state. And the Dalai Lama also mentioned, and I'm so glad he did, that fear compromises our immunity. Our emotions have a direct effect, not just in our mental capacity, but also our body's capacity. And we can start to transform that. We need to start to transform that from the inside out. So if you see each other walking in the corridor, heads up smiling, it's okay, let them go. They're getting their dopamine hit. So as I said before, thoughts, you'll get lots of thoughts come into your head every day. If you attach to every thought, you will go insane. What you need to do is discern which thoughts to then focus your attention on and direct your attention accordingly. There's two ways you can motivate yourself. You either focus on what you want or you focus on what you don't want. Either way, you get what you focus on. These are my two beautiful children, Kristen and Harrison, and this was the age they were in 2010 when I was diagnosed with a brain tumour. So in the middle of my neuroscience studies, focusing on other people's brains, I was diagnosed with my own. And this time, it was my second time I was diagnosed with cancer. First time was in 91, I was 24 and I was given 6 months to live. Clearly that was not accurate. But what happened was I realised I'm Italian, I'm Taurian, and I'm female. And if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to show you I can. And you know what? I did. I decided, while the rest of my family believed the prognosis, I decided I was going to live. And what that meant was I took full responsibility for what I wanted. I moved interstate, I changed my diet, I changed everything about my life, and I focused on getting well. And one of my biggest helpers was the sun. I moved to Brisbane, I get up every morning, predictably, to the sun. And I say thank you every morning and every night. And these two little miracles came along for the ride in 2010. So this time, the pressure was a bit harder. It wasn't just me I had to think about. This was the equipment in the intensive care unit where I spent a week recovering. It was pretty full on. And you do some pretty wacky things when you're under the influence of morphine. That's my excuse. But I never lost my sense of humour. I appreciated how significant this situation was, but I was also really focused on making the most of that situation. I knew I was going to learn something pretty significant. Little did I realise what exactly that was going to be about. These are my children today. I'm blessed that we're well. Now, if you don't like graphic, just turn away for 5 seconds while I show what was underneath the bandages when I got home. So when we took the bandages off, the scar actually extends from the front of my head all the way around to the halfway point of the back of my head. So it's pretty significant. What this rendered me unable to do was I was not able to walk or talk properly for 6 months. And when I arrived home, immediately after hospital, I was crouched in front of my front door at home, and this sign was on the pavement. And it said, "Prepare to stop." And I looked at my mum and I said, I motioned to her to take a photo. I knew that was going to be significant. And what I realised is for the first month, I had no idea what my recovery was going to be like. Little did I realize I wasn't going to be able to walk or talk properly, but I learnt enough about the brain to know how to recover. I still got mad. I still resisted reality. So for the first month, I spent in resistance, and that was really limiting. However, what happened was I surrendered. I still remember the moment I absolutely surrendered, and I allowed my body to heal. So the thing that I want you to think about is, just because you have a thought about events that happen in your life, you can either perceive your thoughts as real or not. But thoughts, are they actually facts? Perception becomes your reality, but perception can also be your deception. Look at this picture. What do you make of that? Now let me show you what really happened. Hello? So we've got to be really careful about how we're deceiving ourselves. One of the most beautiful stories I've ever heard was an old Cherokee legend. You may have heard of it, about the two wolves. And what this grandfather Indian is sitting around a campfire with his grandson, teaching him the old Indian ways. And he says, "Grandson, there's a terrible battle going on inside my head, and it's the same one that goes on for everybody else. And it's between two wolves. One wolf is kind and compassionate and loving and caring and thoughtful, and the other wolf is jealous, quick to anger and spiteful and mean." And the grandson looks at the grandfather and says, "Which wolf will win?" And the grandfather says, "The one you feed." Now, our thoughts are exactly the same. However, what I will say is our negative thoughts are not necessarily bad. Our negative thoughts are there to serve us to be mindful of those things that we're really passionate about, that give us our sense of safety in the world. The other thing, this practical tool came to me when I was recovering. And this practical tool is about your own energy field. So this is something that you can take away with you and use immediately. And I found it's been invaluable to be able to own my own sense of space. So as far as you can extend your hand in every single direction, it ends up looking like a cocoon. That is your energy field. The way this model works, if you like, is everything between that line or that energy field and me, that's my business. Right? That's my energy. Everything I think, everything I say, everything I feel, that's my world. That's my full responsibility. Everything on the outside of my energy field, that's none of my business. So if you and I were talking right now, I'd be mindful of the fact that what you say or direct towards me is actually your business, even if it's directed to me. So knowing that that energy field exists allows me to completely own my experience of our interactions. So you might be quite passionate and quite animated about what you direct towards me. And the only time I'm going to feel threatened by that is when I give you permission to come into my energy field and disrupt my life. So you physically can't get into my brain and tell me how to think. You physically can't get into my body and tell me how to feel. You can't make me do or say anything without my consent. So it's time to realize that you have total permission and responsibility to create and craft your own experience of life. It's your life. Own it, claim it. Claim that brain and tame that brain. You've got full ownership of that. So just to recap, you shape your reality by choosing your focus. Focus on the things that feel good and feel right for you. Whether an experience is something that makes you bitter or better, it's completely your choice. So the way to reframe that is to think, is this happening to me or for me? Is this empowering or disempowering? Is this a threat or an opportunity? You get to decide. Remember to say yes to life. Remember your energy field. That's something you can control at all times. I decided to put together a special gift for all of you in the room, which is my 7 keys to radical well-being. If you'd like to download that at josiethomson.com/happy. I've got some phenomenal resources available outside, but some final words for you. The Buddha tells us that our thoughts create our worlds and that our thoughts are enlivened by our focus. So choose your focus carefully. Can you think your way to a better reality? Yes, you can if you want to. So my words to you is this: pain in life, it's inevitable. That's how you get to learn and grow. Suffering is optional. We do that to ourselves. Growth is intentional. So remember, it's not what happens to you that defines you. It's how you respond that counts. Shine on.